All right, let's move on to the next topic, my man. Let's see what we're talking about for the next 10 minutes. And it is, what is our best 11 when everybody is fit? And I put this one in here, so I'm going to caveat it by saying, we have seen certain players perform better recently in new positions or newer positions. Even Ange has gone as far as to say, with respect to Decky, he adapts to every position. But maybe that doesn't mean that you can squeeze him in when Madders is back. So that's the way I'm thinking about it. But I'll let you crack on and start. And we are. Hang on, wasn't this going to go? Let's go.
Goalkeeper picks itself in Vicario, the best goalkeeper in the league. Absolutely unbelievable. Right back picks itself in Pedro Porro, the best right back in the league. Up there numbers-wise in terms of assists and goals with Trent Alexander-Arnold. Left back, Adoji, best left back in the league by a mile as well. He picks himself. Romero and Van der Ven also picked themselves. I'd argue, how good can they be in emulating Walker, Rose, Toby and Yang going forward? That defence got us into a title race, Champions League final and stuff like that. So, we're on the road at least. So I wonder how good they can be. When it goes into midfield, I'm going to go controversial here and people may not like it. But I'm going to go Bentancur in the holding role. What I've seen from him in that 30 minutes, I think Bissouma has that capability, but doesn't drag it out of himself more enough. I think when I'm going into the other midfield rows, Papa Matasar, I don't think you can take out because of the amount of times he turns over the ball. With James Maddison as that number 10, in my opinion, with the creator. Now, going up top right now, I'm going Sonny on the left, Richarlison down the middle with Kulusevski on the right. I know there's a lot of debate about is Kulu better in the middle, but I've also made this counter argument. Will he get into that midfield when all of our midfielders are fit? I'm not quite so sure. And when you've got that target guy in the box, that's where Kulu is effective. I think he struggled with Son in the box because even when he was cutting in and trying to, beat his man and stuff like that, he didn't really have anyone to aim at. Whereas you seen last week, he got a goal and assist off the right-hand side, so he can still play there. So for me, Sean, that's what I think Tottenham's best 11 is. So I'm going to get yours and then come back to me and we'll see if there's any discrepancies.
Sorry, so Pape Sarr was in the 8 and Maddison was in the 10. Who was in the 9?
Yeah. So just quickly, Vicario on goals, right back Porro, left back Adoji, centre back Romero Van der Ven, Bentancur in the 6, Papa Matasar in the 8, Maddison in the 10, Son out left, Kulu out right, and Richarlison down the middle.
You're putting Richarlison in the middle as your best 11. Okay,
because I think we're so much more better balanced with a proper striker in the box than what we would be with Son.
Okay, so for me, I think the back four picks itself, and so does the goalkeeper. I think we all agree on that. Vicario, Porro, Udogi, Romero, and Van der Ven. I'm also going to join you and say Bentancur in the 6, Bissouma on the bench, and I'm going to add the bench players because I think that you're going to need to have versatility and you're going to need to demonstrate the strength of our squad. Going back to the last conversation, right? Bissouma on the bench for the 6. I agree that Pape Sarr should be in the 8, and I agree that Maddison should be in the 10. I'm of the opinion that Decky is a stronger player in the second half. I think that his stamina carries on and his momentum is absolutely phenomenal. And I think that Brennan Johnson may, for certain horses for courses, I think the argument has to be structured around like what's the best 11 to play against certain teams. If it's a high line team, if it's a really high line team that you're playing against one of the top 4 or 5 teams, then I personally would like to see Sonny in the 9. I'd like to see Brennan Johnson. Sonny in the 9, Brennan Johnson on the right, and Perisic on the left in a high line team if he's fully fit for the first half. For the second half of the season, I'd bring Decky off the bench and either put Decky into the 10 or put him on the right hand side to run at players. So and if it's a low block team where you have to break teams down, then obviously I put Decky on the right hand side for his crossing ability. I put Richarlison in the 9 and Sonny out on the left-hand side. The same midfield 3 for me. Pape Sarr always plays. I think he's just too good with his mobility, his ability to pick players off and pick out kind of interceptions during the kind of second phase or when the balls are knocked down from loose balls or whatever. Maddison always starts in the 10 for me. I'd like to ask you your opinion whether or not there's any rationale. Have you ever seen Maddison playing on the left for Leicester? Back in the day?
No.
You never saw him playing off the left, no?
No.
Okay. Because I mean, I've always thought that he drops off to the left hand side. I don't know if he would be good enough at running at players, but some of the best things he's done in a Tottenham shirt have been attacking things down from the left hand side, getting to the byline. I just wonder whether in certain circumstances you might agree that you could put Decky in the 10, Maddison out on the left hand side, and someone like Brennan Johnson on the right with Sonny up top.
Look, I mean, I definitely wouldn't be against that. I think whatever combination of that, I'd be happy with, just as long as all three of them are on the football pitch. But look, Maddison's one of them players. He can play a left, he can play a right, or he can play through the middle. But what I don't want to get at Tottenham is, where we're pulling these players out of their most effective positions for Tottenham. I hear you when it comes to the case of like Son and Richarlison, teams that will come out and play against us. Yeah, of course you got to play Son down the middle because you got to exploit that high line, and the timing of Son's runs and everything, they're absolutely perfection. But against
Brennan Johnson on the right, most possibly as well, right?
Yeah. Richarlison would come out of the team for me and be put on the bench. But against low block teams, I think Richarlison has to play. You have to have that focal point. I think when you go back to the West Ham game and then you go back to the game against Forest, it shows the benefits of someone like Richarlison, that fox in the box sort of guy. But I don't really want to carry that right throughout the rest of the team. For me, I think players play better when they are settled in certain positions rather than chopping and changing them. Of course, needs must, I'd be open to the idea. But for me, I would like us to be able to get maybe a settled 11 overall. Not only for the guys that are out there week in, week out, bring good camaraderie and everything else, but also sends out a message to all the squad players. If you want to get in, you have to up your levels. You have to up your performances. You have to take your opportunity. So for me, that's what I would be doing. But ideally, I think I would like to persist with Son on the left as much as we can, because the more we play our system and our style of football, the more teams see we struggle against low block, the more they're going to set up in that counter-attacking system, and the more we're going to face that sort of system. So for me, I think inevitably, as the season goes on, you'll probably just see more of Son on the left and Richarlison through the middle.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I wonder what that means for Brennan Johnson. He spent £55 million or £50 million on this youngster, and I don't think he works on the left hand side particularly well. He's nowhere near as good on the left as he is on the right. But I don't know. And Decky and him offer two completely different things. Decky's played absolutely, fantastically in the last few games. At the start of the season, though, I think I certainly wasn't the only one. Loads of people were very frustrated with his predictability of cutting in. I think Brennan Johnson now is learning what's asked of him. He's learning the new system. He's learning to do new things. He's taking players on. And I genuinely think that he is better at taking players on to the byline than Decky is. Even though, having said that, I've always been this advocate saying that Decky doesn't use his right foot enough, and I've never seen him make a mistake with his right foot when he's chosen to use it. He just doesn't choose to use it enough. Against Nottingham Forest, key sort of perfect example. The ball gets kind of mishit towards him. He drives down. He's got a bit of space and uses his right foot to smash it into the top bins. Like, I don't know why he doesn't use his right foot more often than he does. But he does. But if he's going to continue to favour his left foot all the time, then if you're going to look to be able to whip the ball into Richie for this low block system, I think occasionally, and not occasionally, invariably, getting to the byline and pulling the ball back is often more useful for a header than it is pulling to the sort of the corner of the penalty box and whipping it in like Decky does.
Look, I'd also argue, I think part of Decky constantly cutting it inside was to do with not having that player in the box, because Brennan Johnson was also doing it on the left-hand side for quite some time as well. But look, when it comes to Brennan Johnson, Sean, I think the reason why Kulu constantly starts over him is because Kulu's a better crosser of the ball. Kulu's a better finder of that final pass than what Brennan Johnson is. I feel like Brennan Johnson gets in great positions, but his crosses are often overhit or not good enough. I take and when it comes to finishing, Johnson can finish, but so can Kulu. And I think this is where it's at with Johnson. Yes, we brought him, but it's up to him then to get to that level, to be able to get into that first team and be a mainstay. Right now, I'd argue he's still sort of hot and cold. He's nowhere near the finished article. He's still got a long way to go. And I think once he brings that consistency, I think you'll see more of a selection headache, personally.
Yeah, and it's going to be, like I say, again, not to get back to the point, I don't want to make it too repetitive, but I think that if Brennan Johnson does learn this system, stays relatively injury-free, and Decky also can do the same, then, for opposition teams, opposition managers, being able to predict what 11's coming up you know, the difference between Brennan Johnson and Decky is so stark that if there's a 50% chance that Decky's going to be on the right, or a 50% chance that Brennan Johnson's going to be on the right, it's going to make it incredibly difficult for opposition managers to spend enough time practicing certain routines, because they just don't know which version of Tottenham are going to be is going to come out. And so for me, I'm really hoping that both of these players continue to improve this season, as you say, so that it gives Brennan Johnson a selection headache, and it gives opposition managers a preparation headache.
Yeah, for sure. And look, competition will only breed, you know, all round up levels of performances from absolutely everybody. And that's ideally where we need to get to. But again, another 10-minute segment finished just on time as well. Absolutely, we're smashing this, lad.